I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order on December 14th, 2021, and I'll ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Present.
Commissioner Guess?
Present.
Commissioner Henderson?
Present.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Bray?
Present. And please stand for the invocation from Commissioner Henderson, and then we'll do the pledge.
Our Father and our God, again, we come into your presence, and we thank you so much for the day and for the blessings that we right now enjoy. God, we thank you for the privilege and the opportunity that you've given us to serve this city. And so, God, we pray this afternoon for Commissioner Galt and for Commissioner Guest, for Mayor Bray, for Commissioner Wilson, for our city clerk, our city manager. And Father, we pray for wisdom and we pray for discernment, even as we discuss some of the challenges that we have before us. God, we realize that we need you. Father, we pray for our city. We pray for our employees. God, we pray tonight for our neighbors over in Mayfield and in other areas that have been impacted by this tornado. And God, we pray that you will forgive us for the times that we have been ungrateful. Forgive us, God, for the times that we have complained. And forgive us, God, for the times that we have lived our lives as if we're supposed to enjoy what we enjoy. God, how we pray that you'll shut our mouths and bring our memories to us, Lord God, that we might consider that we're blessed. We're more than blessed. And so, Father, we say to you tonight, thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you, God, for what you're going to do in the days ahead. And we thank you, God, for what you're doing even right now. You are indeed an awesome God. You are indeed a mighty God. And we just want to just spend time tonight, Lord God, telling you how grateful we are. Bless us, and we shall be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mayor, none tonight.
Okay. So before we get started, I thought I'd take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the tragedy, what's happened all around, in particular Mayfield, which is really ground zero where the tornado struck, but in really all the communities. And I'd like to want to hear from the other commissioners too about what your perspective is on everything. But I went down Saturday and Sunday and witnessed firsthand some of the devastation down there. So I've certainly never seen anything like it in my life. And kind of immediately, from my perspective, I think Paducah, McCracken County, our community needs to support and reach out to the surrounding communities. And of course, Mayfield is the closest, being only 20-25 minutes away. And so we began to talk about how we can support things, but even before we could even sit down and talk about it, our folks from the fire department were first responders down there. Our police department's been down there. Both Paducah Water and Joint Sewer Agency here from this county have been down there in support. We are the backup to their 911 calls. So we were taking 911 calls first day. We're looking for other opportunities really to support Grace County, Mayfield, Marshall County, the areas that are closest to Paducah. As the largest city in McCracken County, and with McCracken County being the largest county within the purchase, I think we have an obligation. We have an obligation to really step up, and I know that our community has already stepped up. there's fundraisers everywhere. I mean, literally, you go on social media, and everybody, it seems like, is having some sort of a fundraiser. And so, I think that's fantastic. I just was talking right before the meeting. City manager and I were talking to our police chief, and they've been collecting toys, and they've collected so many toys to take down to Mayfield is unbelievable. I just think that the response has been overwhelming. I think, as I think about it, I think the long-term, the intermediate and long-term needs over there are probably going to be even more acute because I think we're at that early part of, everybody wants to help at this point, but really we're talking about weeks and months and perhaps years, in bringing that community and those communities that have been damaged back. So to that end, over the weekend, actually, the judge and I and our city manager, the deputy judge, police chief, fire chief, we all got together and just sat down and talked through what might be the long-term needs, the long-term pressure points. And I think one of those is going to be housing. It's certainly there's a need for short-term housing now. There's going to be a need for I guess I would term it as intermediate-term housing, 6 months to a year, and nobody knows what the future holds beyond that. But as the largest city and county here, we just want to begin to think through what that looks like for us, just to make sure that we're ready for anything that might come down the pike. People have constantly been asking me, from everywhere really. I took a call from someone who used to live in Paducah, used to work at CSI, and he lives up in Dayton, Ohio, and he called, and there was a tractor trailer full of water and goods, blankets, different things on their way down here from, northern Ohio. I've got a daughter that lives in Cleveland. Somebody reached out to her up there. They want to send a truckload. So it's kind of overwhelming, really. The response, what it's been. I do think that those who want to provide financial support, which is, if you look at financial support, you look at dollars coming in, where it's, to someone who can administrate that money and make sure that it gets somewhere where it's needed the most. So today, we've been taking a look at some places where people can make donations. And we're going to post this on our website, and Pam will get it out for those of you who are on our email distribution list. And if you're not, by the way, we'd like for you to sign up. But but there's many funds, and there's many more than this. But these were just some local funds that I thought that I could talk about a little bit tonight, that we could all at least make us all aware of them. And first of all, there is a Mayfield-Graves County Tornado Relief Fund. That is a fund that goes directly into Mayfield and Graves County, and those funds are going to be managed by a board made up of Sheriff John Hayden, Mayor Kathy Onan, Judge Executive Jesse Perry, an Independence Bank president down there, and a community member, Cindy Cash. So it looks like to me, in terms of money going, that is a fund that would go directly into Graves County, Mayfield. our own Western Kentucky Community Foundation that manages, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the north of $35 million of funds in our community for the outlying communities, has established something called the Western Kentucky Disaster Relief Fund. That particular fund only makes donations, provide contributions to licensed or registered 501c3 funds, schools, hospitals, churches. And it's administered by professionals who are very familiar with the charities around this area. So those are the two funds I think that are, maybe closest and most acute. And all of them would take contributions anywhere from $5 on up. The state of Kentucky, you might have heard about this, the state of Kentucky has established it's called Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. And again, we'll have all these links and this information on our website and provided by our communication staff. That particular fund is going to be administered by the state and will go to all the areas that have been affected by tornadoes. So all particular areas. And then kind of a standby fund is the Kentucky Red Cross. We've got a link to a Red Cross. Red Cross is that organization that's always there in any kind of disaster. I am told that these funds will be directed toward local efforts. So there's a way to actually contribute to the Red Cross. So I wanted to make sure and get that discussion going out there, and I wanted to, just kind of communicate to the community and let the other commissioners also communicate, just sort of, what our view of this disaster. The President of the United States will be in our area tomorrow. He's going to be, don't know anything about timing, but he's going to be touring the affected sites, and I think he's going to be in Dawson Springs, Mayfield. So that's, that certainly shows the severity, of what's happened. We've got national disaster relief funds coming to the affected communities, which is going to be much needed. So we're going to be exploring how we can continue to support these communities going forward. So those are just some of my remarks. I'd love to hear from, I know some of you all been down there, some of you haven't. I don't know, I'd just open it up to any of the other commissioners that would like to say anything.
Well, I guess I'll begin. I've written some notes down, so I'm dangerous tonight. But first of all, I think it's important to mention that Paducah is a unique place. There's never been a need that I've been aware of where the citizens of Paducah didn't rise to the occasion to work diligently to meet the need, and of course that's happened. Even now. I've been in collaboration with obviously preachers and pastors, both black and white, and we have been talking about things that we think we might need to do to try to help address the need. I think it's important that we know, and I think Mayfield knows, that we've got people all over this country who are concerned about what's going on there. I've talked to pastors today from Louisville, from Lexington, from Carbondale, from Chicago, and even Gary, Indiana. And each of those people that I've talked to have already pledged their support in whatever way we need it, whatever way Mayfield needs it, that support is going to come. So I think I wanted to start off by saying that. But I think that I already know that the things that I'm going to throw out, we can't decide on today or tonight. It's going to take some more discussion, but at least I wanted to throw it out and get it on the table. The first thing I wanted to throw out is we already have a gym or jewel in PCM, in Paducah Cooperative Ministry. They are already working to try to meet some needs. But one of the things that I did find out today is that Paducah Cooperative Ministries missed food that normally comes to them because the distribution site is in Mayfield. And so there's food for seniors, there's emergency food that comes, I'm sorry, there's emergency food that comes as well. They missed it today. So I guess what I want to throw out there is it is probably a short-term fix. How can we find some type of building, some type of warehouse where we can store food, where there can be some refrigeration? They're fine having missed it today because they've had a surplus, but they can't miss that distribution too many times because then that'll create some other food disparity issues in our city. So that's one thing that, again, I think is going to require some conversation as to how we do it, but I think we have some buildings around that could serve in that capacity. The second thing that I think that is important, and that is that we have a centralized authority. And what I mean by that, as you've said, there are all kinds of things on Facebook and whatnot, and I think there needs to be a centralized place where people from Mayfield can get information. You know, they need to know that you can go here for this, or you can go here for that, or you can go here for that, and it needs to be legitimate information, if that makes any sense, you know. So I think that's important. I think that's a quick fix, and we may already be on top of that. But I think that's important. And then, of course, you mentioned, Mayor, the whole housing issue. I think we already know that that's going to be an issue. And I don't know if we can even launch a campaign and encourage people who may have extra rooms, you know, in their homes, to provide an extra room, to provide some space, you know, where people can stay. I don't know if we can even put together our landlords who may have some properties, some rentals, and allow them to do that, and if to rent those rooms or apartments, and if the city some way can pay rent or pay some portion. I see David, Commissioner Guess over there. But to see if the city could pay some portion of that to make sure that Commissioner Guess would get his rent. You know?
No.
And so those are just four things that I'm sure will require some more conversation and as to how we do that. But I just wanted to get it out there and let's talk about it.
Commissioner Henderson, was that Feeding America, where they got their food from Paducah Cooperative Ministry?
I'm not exactly sure, but who provides that? But the distribution center
Was in Mayfield.
was in Mayfield.
So Feeding America, Heartland, had a warehouse in Mayfield that was destroyed.
Yes.
So I know Bruce Wilcox and I both worked with them on Saturday. I thought they had found a warehouse in Paducah. Now, they still could have missed start
Yeah, I
feeding
heard that too.
distribution today because they're just getting back up. They were still looking for refrigerated trucks to bring in, but I thought they had a warehouse. I was working with a local realtor and a landlord that had some large warehouses.
Then I talked to Mrs. Heidi Heinrich today, and if that was the case, then she may not even know.
I'll check back with them today. It was Jamie, I've got her in my contacts that I talked to on Saturday and gave her several leads. And I said, if this isn't working, let me know, we'll start all over.
Okay.
And I think they have.
Good deal.
It was it was a large warehouse that distributes to 8 counties. So it's very important that they found a good location.
Absolutely.
I think Mary Hammond with CVB is working on Paducah Cares website for a lot of information.
Well, yeah, I actually forgot, I was going to mention that, but
Go ahead,
she's-
and then I'll
she's-
pick.
She's taken, she's tracking the available rooms or hotels, lodging that actually have rooms. I mean, it flows, the ebb and flow is, a change on the hour, but because in the quilt show, to your point about people opening up their homes, we've done that in the past for quilt shows. So we may have a database, of people who might be open to
Willing to
that.
do that,
Everybody might not be.
Right.
But there'd be a lot of people that would, I think. So that's something we can follow up on.
I think it's actually going to be even longer than what that would provide. We're talking housing for quite some time. So, we've had a lot of calls today at the chamber for apartment openings, so we've been emailing that information out. We also have gotten a lot of calls from throughout the country about people sending trucks, so we've tried to direct them. We've kind of tried to stay more on the business, helping out the businesses. So I know the Kentucky Chamber and Kentucky Sports Radio with Matt Jones, they have a fund. They've already raised several $100,000 that would go directly to help with businesses. And so, and then we've been putting out information more specific to businesses, SBA, what to do to set up on all of that. So I'm just kind of trying to stay in that area and then putting out some of the other websites that need to. But one call I got today is something I think that we should maybe remember. It was a local optometrist that was helping 15 families with hotel rooms, and it was in Metropolis, but they don't have food here. So she was asking if there was anywhere for them to get food closer than having to go back to Mayfield because they're staying locally in hotels. So I don't know if we need to send everything to Mayfield, or maybe we need to have some kind of point here for those families that are staying in this community to pick up food. I did want to mention Paducah Power has also been helping out. They've had lineman crews in Princeton, but they've also been helping a lot with the fiber, getting internet back in Marshall County, and today back to Graves County, to the CFSB Bank that's operating as the EOC Center, to get them very high-speed internet back up. And they're ready to help Mayfield Electric when they need them.
Okay.
So those are the things. I mean, there are just so many needs, and it's going to be years ahead.
Yeah.
I think from what I've heard, some of the chambers that have been impacted probably lost more businesses than they have still standing in some of their communities as far as that. So we've reached out to Marshall County and Mayfield Chamber to go to their offices, help them staff, make calls for them, whatever that they need to be reaching out.
Are they even in a position to take you up on that yet?
Not yet, no. But the Kentucky Chamber has they have a large staff, and they're ready to mobilize people and bring them here.
Okay.
But I don't think that in Mayfield they still have electricity or power and water that I've heard. I have not talked to them today.
They've turned the water on. They've got so many leaks, they can't leave it on.
Okay.
Paducah Water's over there. I mean,
Is the power on though in downtown? I don't think it is.
no way, not
There
downtown.
I think it's going to be a while from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think Phil
but
told
I
me-
don't know.
He was looking at 2 to 3 weeks is what he had heard. I have a friend there.
Anybody?
No, I was going to say I was there earlier today for the first time, and as most of you all know, I'm from there. So I have still a lot of family and friends there, and as a matter of fact, in Caldwell County too. But it was, I shared with Commissioner Guest, it was a very resilient, one of the couples that I took some things to today were, they were high school sweethearts. And so, they've been married ever since we were in high school, and they owned a business and had built a family, and their kids all lived around them, and they were traveling and had to get the phone call that their house and their business both were gone. But it was the most resilient attitude. I couldn't, when I got there and with things, they were, and that everybody that we came in contact, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. A lot of people are really, down in the mouth and hurting, obviously. But they had an attitude of, we're going to make this work. We're going to find a way to build it back. We're still a community, a lot of pride. And so, that made me feel much better about it. But to all the things, so many people are stepping up and stepping in. But the one thing I don't want us to forget about, Mayor, in all this is, as you said, we have an obligation to step up. And a little bit of business, I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention 911, because KSP went down. during all of this, and I'm sure you've been brought up to speed on that. But, our police and fire were there, right? And they've been trained with all those things that I learned about years ago with 911. They knew what to do. They could handle a structural collapse. They had it all. And that was being a good neighbor to me. But I've thought about it, and I talked to Chief Laird about it earlier today, if, we were operating from one radio tower. And the cells didn't work. It was all radio communication, and they were able to flip over to a channel and communicate one-to-one and get their business done. With the new proposals that we have, the things that are coming, we would have more than that. So we would have multiple towers, and we'd be in a much better situation to handle it.
It's a great call out.
So I really think that puts it front and center for me. And I feel sure after experiencing this, the county will be right there, lockstep with us. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be, but it shot it straight to the priority list for me, because when they had people that were calling, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Chief, but you're much better at this than I am. So if you want to speak to it at all. I was afraid he was going to say that, but from what I understand is when they were, they had people that were calling in and they were trapped. They were just overwhelmed with calls, and our dispatch center handled all that and did a remarkable job. And I just think we need to pay attention to those kinds of things. Make sure it's a priority and something that we deal with quickly.
Yep, totally agree, and it's on the front burner, for sure. So,
Yes.
Commissioner Guess?
Yeah, mine's probably been a little more of a roller coaster, because it was just from my son getting called in from the fire department, got called to Mayfield, and he was letting me know, and anybody knows me, if I'm awake past 8, something's going on, because I go to sleep. And then from that, he's telling me everything's going on. I'm going to leave names out, because I'll leave a name out that was telling me that, we've got 3 bands coming. One's coming straight to Paducah, and got a daughter in a closet in Bowling Green, and with my 3-month-old grandchild, and it's amazing. And I love the resilience. I have a friend in Mayfield that I helped him move a tree Sunday, and he has a flooring business, and again, I'm leaving names out, but a 20-foot warehouse that is about 5 foot high right now, and he's just looking for a place. He says, "Oh, we'll find something. It'll be fine." And he has rental property too, and he lost some, and we had to move a tree so they could put tarps on the roof, and it was just. And when we were leaving, I wanted to add this: is that there's just so many good people. When I got there, and guy said, "You need some help," and I don't know if they're charging. You don't want to get. And I said, "Hey, I'm just helping." He said, "We're just helping too." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "We're soldiers." He said, "We just came in from Fort Campbell, and we're just helping for the day. We're just helping." And that was just, very humbling just to see they were just there. And I went to Bowling Green yesterday to see my daughter, and everybody's fine. She was 3 miles from everything, but she said there's 500 homes down there. And, as I was talking to Darren today about Dawson Springs, it's just kind of breathtaking. If you go look at Mayfield, and Saturday I went to the lake. I appreciate your call to go, but a friend of mine called Saturday, and he had a lake house that had been in the family since the 60s, and he said, "I don't know if it's standing." And he said, "Can you get me there?" And I said, "We'll get there somehow." So I took him by boat, and he had a tree laying on it, but he was one of the lucky few. There was it was just there's a lot of people with a lot of different. Just one of the things that went through. I liked what the judge said in the paper today is we're family. This isn't Tillman against Mayfield. We're all family. We're all on the same team, working for and it was just really just neat to see how everybody is trying to help. And I think what you said, that we're going to need help. Let's don't lose our adrenaline here. In 6 months, we might need more help in 6 months than we need right now. And
It's going to be front and center for some time, I think. We've had a lot of meetings canceled this week. People, it just takes the wind out, completely takes the wind out of your sails, and it makes everything else that you're working on less important.
Yes.
It really does. And I want to call out a couple other people, while I'm got these random thoughts, but, I went over and Mayor Onan in Mayfield, I don't know if you guys have seen her on national TV, but wow, what a great job that she has done representing Western Kentucky, as the mayor of Mayfield. And she wasn't, she didn't sign up for this, she wasn't prepared for it, but she stepped up. I know she's had a lot of help, but she's been a really great spokesman, for our area. And I've had people reach out to me and say that. That was I saw her. I've seen her do several interviews, and they've been great. And then I got a call out. Everybody, a lot of people have probably seen it on social media. I got to call out our weather folks. On Friday night. All of us, hopefully, were glued to the TV, and boy, I've never seen as much passion, with those folks telling us to get out of the way, put on a helmet, get in a closet, get somewhere safe. And so I feel like with being the type of tornado it was, whether it was EF3, 4, or 5, I'm not sure, but I have to believe that saved a lot of lives, so.
Do you think it might be helpful, I might be creating some work, if we had someone within the city that's kind of designated as our person to be coordinating, like our efforts? Is that you, Darren? Okay.
We out of the city manager's office, we began that effort Friday night when I spoke. As soon as I knew everybody was an opportunity, I reached out to Mayor Onan, and we have that. And then we, as the mayor mentioned, we, with our chiefs, assistant city manager, the county, we met on Sunday to begin that, and we are coordinating to kind of have a centralized, so how we can look forward to continuing to provide assistance. And as we say, the flood, the great flood of compassion and giving, not only during this time normally, but in spades and tenfold, 20-fold, 50-fold that we're seeing right now. I think a big opportunity for us as public servants and being good neighbors is to think about the 3 months, the 6 months, the 12 months, the 15 months down the road and how we can continue to help. And I've offered that to Mayor Onan, and our chiefs have been in contact with their chiefs over there, and so we are coordinating those efforts.
Well, I was on a call yesterday with the Joplin, Missouri folks. He was the chamber director, but who has a lot of those, immediate 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, what they did in rebuilding Joplin. So I'd be happy to share that with you. You may already have, maybe I already shared it with you, or maybe you haven't.
I'd love to say that. We're also through our state City County Managers Association and also the International City Managers Association. There's works, the plans, using those resources from other communities, not only in Kentucky that have gone through it, but also around the country. So, but I'd like to have that information, always including on the database.
Go ahead.
If you were,
I guess.
Yeah, I was. No, mentioned just briefly. Everybody has, and one again, the compassion that's being shown by the community is overwhelming. I look behind us at our Commonwealth flag, and united we stand. We are showing the rest of the country around the world what Kentuckians do. We do stand united. Friday night you mentioned, Mayor, that we had our public safety officials, working hard. Great news today, right before the meeting, Chief Kyle came up to me and told me about the last 2 individuals that our team that was over there at the candle factory that were able to help rescue. It truly was a rescue. They didn't think that they would be able to live, but not for the efforts of everybody included. We had some great news tonight, or he did, and shared with it. Those last 2 are on the way to a recovery, so that's exciting. Also, when I was talking to Chief Creasy Sunday when we were over there, he made a point to tell me that, thankful for our help and assistance with our fire department, our police department. We think you may have heard that Louisville area fire departments have come down, Lexington has come down and helped and are taking kind of those roles. But he made a point to tell me that Louisville Fire Department made a special comment about our team and our fire department. He said that our training was on full display. There were a couple of individuals that they didn't think that they were going to be able to rescue, let alone fully rescue, but if they were going to have to amputate to be able to do that. And Chief Creasy wanted me to know and to share, and I shared this with Chief Kyle, that because of our efforts, their efforts over there in that, and their training, and the training for extrication, they were able to not only save those people, but keep them from being amputated. And they came out of that without having to lose a limb or a life on that. And so, we talk about that, and so that's very special. I want to point that out. You mentioned about our 911, and that's very true. I think this also gives us an opportunity not only to know how we can help going forward and be good neighbors, but what is our internal continuity of service plan? I think we need to be using this as a learning opportunity as we're going through that for locally. To your point, Commissioner Galt, what is our future of 911 look like? How are we going to fund that? I mean, all of those things are important, and had we lost that, what other services could we have not have provided? So I appreciate you bringing that out. And then so those are the things that while we're thinking how we can continue to help and provide support, we're also using this for a tool internally to look at our operations and how, if we ever, hopefully, none of us have to go through this again, but if we do, what does that look like? And so we can be ready. Commissioner Wilson, to your point about a centralized point of information, emergency management in that area is coordinating that. FEMA is on the ground in that, and for efforts for the point for those folks in that community, that's where we've asked to direct them as an initial, but we can definitely help and be a supportive role, and we'll continue to do so in that. We're also, looking at ways that that we might be able to use public service help and our public facilities help and things like that. And so we're looking for opportunity solutions to continue to be a good neighbor, and we'll continue to do so as long as needed.
Those comments you make about our fire department, I mean, that makes me very proud to hear that. So, I commend, everybody that's been going over there and helping. I mean, we're so blessed and so fortunate here that this didn't happen to us, and so.
And we had individual team members that were impacted as well, and fortunate all of them, are safe and sound. And then one thing that we also want to know is while we're providing support to our neighbors, I want the community to know that we're still doing our work to support and work for our own community, and so we're not forgetting that aspect of it as well. And so and we also are providing any social and mental health to our team members that were impacted if they need that, and so we're offering those services as well.
I did want to offer an opportunity. This is a little off, off kilter, maybe off center than what we normally do. But if there was any comments that anybody in the audience wanted to make, you don't have to come up here and get in front, get on the mic. But if anybody's got any comments, you're welcome to raise your hand. I'll be glad to listen. Come on, one person. Okay.
I'm from the city of Mayfield. Lost a cousin over there. But I do want to say that as the police and the fire department was in their way, I was too. And I'd say they done a great job. Great job. Appreciate everything y'all have done and going to do for this city. That's my hometown. And believe me, the city of Mayfield appreciate it too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on then. At this point, we've got new employee introductions, and I believe Michelle and Amy are going to come up and make some introductions.
Mayor, Commission, City Manager, and City Clerk, thank you for having me today. I am super excited to make these introductions because, as you know, we've been waiting a long time to fill these spots. So I have both assistant directors here tonight. Susie Davidson is the Assistant Director of Recreation. She's going to be handling our recreation and events moving forward. She has been in the recreation field since 2006. She most recently worked for the city of St. Cloud, Florida, where she served as the recreation superintendent since 2015. She currently holds her Certified Parks and Recreation Professional Certificate, as well as her Aquatic Facility Operator Certificate. She is also a certified public manager and recently received her master's in public administration from the University of Central Florida. Susie has recently relocated here with her family and started December 2nd, so she is fresh and ready to go.
Fresh meat.
Yeah, exactly. Jared Marsden has worked in Parks and Grounds maintenance since 2007. He also joins us from Florida. They didn't know each other. It just happened, happenstance. Jared maintains several certifications in Parks and Recreation as well, including his Playground Safety Inspector Certificate and his Certified Pool Operator and Aquatic Facility Operator certificates. Jared began his duties with us November 18th, so he's been here a little bit longer, and he is in the process of also relocating his family here to Paducah. Both have hit the ground running, and we are super excited for the impacts that they're already having and the positive change that they're bringing to the department. So I look forward to you guys getting to see them boots on the ground and making every effort to improve what we do in Parks and Recreation in Paducah.
Thank you, Amy. Jared, Susie, it's great to have you here. I'll just say this, Parks and Recreation, that department is critical to our city. It's citizen-facing, as you all well know, and we get a scorecard from our citizens every day, and so our organization and the leadership in that department's really, really important. So it's great to have you guys on the team.
Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
Michelle.
All right. Good evening, Board of Commissioners. I am here to introduce two fantastic new employees we have in our administration department. So I can start with Lori to my left. Lori is our new business analyst supporting the Enterprise Resource Software project. We're implementing Tyler products, as you know. So Lori has a significant amount of software experience through her business analyst roles with Ford and Nissan in the Nashville area. We're lucky, though, because she has a passion for public service, so she brought those skills to the Department of Revenue most recently and is now bringing them to the city. She also has a degree in political science from Murray State. So she is originally from the Paducah area and moved back here in 2019. She's married to Trip Dortch, and they have two adult children, Connor and Sydney, who both live and attend school in the Tennessee area. So we are thrilled Lori is here and very happy to have her.
Welcome, Lori.
Thank you.
I've already had a chance to meet you and, get to know you a little bit. And when Michelle talks about the enterprise software implementation, I kind of glaze over. So I'm glad somebody's in charge of that. Somebody's doing something that they know what they're doing.
Okay, and then we also have Beverly Underwood here tonight. She's our new senior administrative assistant supporting the mayor and board of commissioners as well as the city manager's office. So I'm sure you all have already received a lot of communication from her. She comes to us most recently from Paducah Bank, where she has over 15 years of experience. She's originally from Atlanta but has lived in the Paducah area since 1995. She has 4 adult daughters still in Kentucky. And she is very involved in the community. She serves both at Market House Theater and as a United Way reading pal. So again, we're excited she has that community service bug and came over to the city, and she's excited to continue serving the public, but in a new way. So welcome, Bev.
So, Bev, not only do you have to support me and Darren, but you also have to support this, this band of folks here.
That was generous.
And, Bev's been here a little over a week, I think now. I've lost track. 6 days? Okay. 6 days. So at any rate, she's jumped right in, and it's great to have you, and we're looking forward to big things. So.
That's it. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got Love Awards. Michelle, you're still up, I think.
We're going to do
Oh,
the
we're not-
Christmas parade
Oh,
winners
I'm sorry.
first.
My fault.
Yeah.
So who is up?
Suzanne and Taylor, I believe, are going to announce the winners of the
Okay.
Christmas parade.
Yeah.
I'm back. So this is my very first event with the city of Paducah, and I think it went absolutely fantastic. It went without a hitch, and there was lots of beautiful decorated floats, and it really showed the true character of, I think, the city of Paducah and the team that I'm going to be working with. So without further ado, we'll go on with our Christmas parade winners.
They're going to want you to step up to the mic.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So, am I in control of this? Okay. So for the best, the themed float winner, we have McCracken County Schools. And just so all of the winners are aware, we are going to do a group photo at the end.
Yeah, don't run out, Steve.
Yeah, don't leave. For the religious float winner, we have Kids in Christ of Salt and Light. And for the best non-float winner, we have Melria Balloons. I don't see her here, so we will move on. For the school float winner, we have the Paducah Middle School. And lastly, we have our band winner, which was the McCracken County Band. Is that you again? So thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, let's have a hand for everybody, okay?
We'd ask that the mayor and commission join up here in the front so we can get a full, with all the winners. If y'all step around. And Suzanne and Taylor and Amy, if y'all would also join up here as well, please. Didn't see this head. I was trying to duck down, so I wasn't photobombing it. Now we have 11 winners.
Now we'll have the Love Awards with Michelle. So give everybody a little background on why we do this.
And you and I are.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Yep, if you all want to come up front. Okay. So while the mayor and city manager are coming up front, I have the great honor of presenting our organizational Love Awards. And this is actually the third year for these awards, and what the LOVE stands for is Living Our Values Every Day. So these awards recognize employees who wholeheartedly embrace our organizational values to make a difference. This is also a really special process because you're nominated by fellow employees. So you're nominated by employees, and then we have an employee committee that actually selects the winner. So it's a very special honor to receive one of these. And before I get into these, I do want to mention that while I am up here presenting, our communications manager, Pam Spencer, is actually the one who manages the process. So we're very thankful for Pam and all that she does. Okay, so we have 6 organizational values, and we will present a Love Award for each value. The first award winner I will invite up is Christy Gray for Action Oriented. Please come on up. Clap. So action-oriented, our value is we believe Paducah leads through responsiveness, positive forward momentum, and a thirst to always improve. And I'll read a little bit of the submission. So Christy Gray is Paducah's payroll accountant who has been instrumental in the complicated and time-intensive payroll software conversion process. A portion of the nomination form reads, Christy is a stickler for accuracy, timeliness, and consistency, which is of the utmost importance for employees and the task she takes on every day in the process of payroll production. She is a problem solver, smart, mature, and deliberate in all she does. Perhaps the Munis implementer, a third-party outsider, said it best when she said, I wish all of our clients could be like Christy. Congratulations, Christy. All right, next I'll invite up another fabulous member of our finance team, Melanie Guardian, who is the recipient of our customer experience value. So we believe in providing excellent customer service for both our internal and external customers through a welcoming and respectful environment. So Melanie is a revenue tech, and this is what her nomination reads. Melanie is fluent in Spanish, and having her skills in finance has been a significant help in communicating with customers. In addition, Melanie is teaching revenue staff how to count, say words, and carry on basic communication. Melanie has also assisted other departments with translating. Finance is very proud to take steps to be inclusive of the diversity of our community and offer the best customer service possible. Congratulations, Melanie. All right, I'll invite up next John Saxton for our Every Person Matters Award. So we believe that every member of Team Paducah is critically important as we strive to accomplish our mission, and for every person that chooses to live, work, and play in our city matters. So John is a supervisor with our Public Works Department, and his submission reads, John is a hard worker, and he treats all the men and women under his supervision with care. By care, I mean all of his employees matter to the team. No job or person is less than or more important. Thank you, John, and congratulations. Okay, I'll invite up Taylor Morshing from the Parks and Rec Department for our Fiscal Responsibility Award. So as a city, we believe in prudent stewardship of public funds. Taylor is a recreation superintendent with our Parks and Rec Department. His nomination reads that Taylor goes above and beyond every day living these values, but especially when it comes to fiscal responsibility. He always looks for ways to get the most done with every dollar that we have for programming. Taylor also uses all internal sources in order to make sure his team gets as much safety training as possible. So congratulations, Taylor, and thanks for your service. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to invite up Claudia Meeks for personal accountability. Our personal accountability states that we believe in holding each other accountable to ensure our core values are intentionally fulfilled as we strive to carry out our mission. Claudia is our assistant city clerk, and her nomination reads that she is a model of personal accountability because she demonstrates follow-through, team mentality, and incredible work ethic in everything she does. Claudia takes ownership in any project or assignment that she works on and strives to deliver excellent work. She not only manages her own time to get the job done, she also helps everyone around her stay on track, which I can attest to. So that the project gets completed and the whole team looks good. She is the type of person that will pick up the slack and pull the whole team forward. Thank you, Claudia, and congratulations. And finally, I'd like to invite up Jim Scott for Solution Driven. So we believe in proactively working together to discover innovative solutions that meet our current and future needs. Jim manages our fleet maintenance division, and his nomination reads, the system that Jim Scott has in place of tracking maintenance history and work orders for equipment and vehicles is phenomenal. Jim does great work at keeping records and getting the job done. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. Great. Thank you, Jim. That's it. Thank you. That was fun. I will do that anytime.
So while we're on the subject of awards, I want to talk a little bit about a new award that I came up with. One of the things that I like doing more than anything in my job is catching people doing great things. And around here, it's kind of easy to do because we got a lot of great people doing a lot of great things. But I decided to, in consultation, it wasn't just me by myself, in consultation with the city manager and the assistant city manager, to develop a Mayor's Award of Excellence that's really awarded by the mayor from time to time to recognize community members who have contributed greatly to make a significant and lasting impact in our community, or an outstanding employee who has provided exemplary service and commitment to the organization. I myself decided over the last, well, let me back up just a little bit. The city manager's office has really, and the mayor's office has been without administrative support for the last 60 to 90 days. And so we've had to ask people to step up and really help. And if you've been in the office, you know that people are calling, coming by all the time. And Pam Spencer has been somebody who's really stepped up and really made a difference in the last 6-8 weeks, 3 months. So Pam is going to be the first recipient of this due to her dedication, hard work, and can-do attitude in supporting myself and the city manager's office during what was a very challenging transition. Pam willingly accepted extra duties, worked extra hours. She really never said no to anything. And she supported myself and the city manager. She included the Duke and Duchess Awards, which, believe it or not, we get a lot of requests for, and a lot of people talking about them. Helping writing speeches and doing presentations, setting up appointments, following up with people, managing internal and external requests for the mayor, for myself, and we are super grateful, Pam, for going the extra mile. And it's obvious that you really care about your job, care about the city and the success of the office and the people that are in it, and you exemplify all the qualities, that people should follow. So the first award, it's a really nice little
We got you. You really got me.
That's hard to do, too.
I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so shocked.
Good job. That was fun. Okay. We're going to move to the consent agenda. Items on this agenda, the consent agenda, are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. You can tell that this is the boring part of the meeting. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval. Would any of our commissioners like an item removed for separate discussion?
No.
We all good? Okay. Then I'll ask the city clerk to read the items recommended for approval.
Approve minutes for the November 23rd, 2021 Paducah Board of Commissioners meeting. Receive and file documents, appointment of George Cumby and reappointment of Jackie J. Matheny to the Barkley Regional Airport Authority. Said term shall expire December 31st, 2025. Reappointment of Kristen Williams and Vic Patel, and appointment of Michael Cochran and Sherry Coney to the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau. Said term shall expire December 31st, 2024 and December 31st, 2022, respectively. Appointment of Chris Hook to the Board of Assessment Appeals. Said term shall expire December 31st, 2024. Personnel actions, a municipal order amending the FY 2021 through FY 2022 position and pay schedule for the full-time employees of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. A municipal order adopting an amendment to the FY 2021 through 2022 pay grade schedule for the employees of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. A municipal order declaring the real property located 1142 North 14th Street to be surplus property, accepting the bid of Rahim Shabazz in the amount of $500 for purchase of said real property, and authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and all documents related to same. A municipal order declaring the real property located at 1126 Park Avenue to be surplus property, accepting the bid of Elnora J. Stevenson in the amount of $400 for purchase of said real property, and authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and all documents related to same. A municipal order approving and authorizing the first supplemental assistance agreement between the City of Paducah, Kentucky and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority for project number A18-028. A municipal order authorizing the first renewal of the 2020 through 2021 fuel supply agreement with JSC Terminal LLC DBA Midwest Terminal for 2022 calendar year, and authorizing the mayor to execute said renewal agreement. A municipal order accepting the bid of Atlantic Emergency Solutions for sale to the city of one pumper truck in the amount of $613,206 for use by the Paducah Fire Department, and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an assistance to firefighters matching grant application and all documents necessary through the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $11,340 for emergency bailout kits for the Paducah Fire Department. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute an assistance to firefighters matching grant application and all documents necessary through the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $190,930.83 for station exhaust systems for the Paducah Fire Department.
So move.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. Okay, so we've got one ordinance to adopt tonight, which we read at the last meeting. So, City Clerk, I'll ask you to read it, please.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance providing for the closing of 399.78 feet of South 22nd Street, 100 feet of Clark Street, 12.5 feet wide, 50 feet long alley 50 foot of a 20-foot wide alley and 239.3 feet of an approximately 15-foot alley, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the city of Paducah does hereby authorize the closing of 399.78 feet of South 22nd Street, 100 feet of Clark Street, a 12.5-foot wide and a 50-foot long alley, a 50-foot of a 20-foot wide alley, and 239.3 foot of an approximately 15-foot alley, and authorizes, empowers, and directs the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed from the city of Paducah to the property owner in or abutting the public way to be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll, City Clerk.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. Okay, and we have one ordinance to introduce tonight, and I'll let Josh Summer from the Planning Department come up and tell us about it.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. Tonight, what's before you is annexation incentives. And this is to facilitate and support the priority action item of annexation, which is encompassed in the overall strategic plan for the city of Paducah. We work closely with the Finance Department and also the Public Works Department in developing these incentives. And the reason being is to ensure economic feasibility for properties that we annex into the city, and also to ensure that our incentives are attractive enough where people would like to annex into the city. How the incentives would work is that a memorandum of agreement would be submitted, which would come before this body in the form of a municipal order that would include the language, shall authorize the mayor to execute, all that legal terminology that you're used to. I'd like to go through the proposed incentives for just a second. The first is a property tax reimbursement, and this would be for a term of 5 years for somebody that would like to annex into the city of Paducah. And it would run with the property owner even if they sell that property. They do have to notify the Finance Department if they move. That way we know where that check needs to go. And the reason this is a reimbursement instead of a payout is because we also collect for the library, the school, and other entities. So it's a one lump sum that we get, and it's not feasible to send just one property tax bill out. So the city of Owensboro utilizes this, and they've had success with it, to just reimburse that specific amount of property tax back to the property owner. The other incentive is a sanitation incentive for a period of 1 year with a cap of $10,000. Chris Yarber and his team will track that amount of worth month to month, and in the event that it exceeds $10,000, that sanitation amount will appear on their water bill the next month, like it does for every other business in the city of Paducah. This does not include construction dumpsters. It does not include leaves, garbage in the form of appliances or mattresses, things that require an additional trip to the site or equipment that is needed. And it doesn't cover any of those, or a third party that generates fees. And then the last type of incentive that we are proposing is a closing cost incentive. And this is up to $1,000, and it's a one-time lump sum payment for properties that are on the periphery of the city that would like to annex in for the specific purpose of selling that property within 18 months. And the reason why there's an 18-month limit is to make sure that that funding is available for anybody else that would like to sell that property. And the goal is to have a simultaneous reading of the municipal order and the final annexation ordinance at the same time, whenever those incentives are finalized. That way we have a good idea when those incentives begin and when they end, and it's communicated with Finance and Public Works as well. To make the commission also aware, hopefully we do have 2 annexations in January already lined up. Those are been approached to our office in planning, so I do think that early winter we will have some that are going to be moving into the city. So with that, I would be glad to answer any questions that you all may have.
Can you give me an example of somebody who, on this closing cost incentive, sort of just walk us through how that might work, why somebody would want that?
Sure. If it's somebody that didn't or preferred not to annex in under the sanitation or the property tax reimbursement, this is an extra incentive to provide to them just in case they've been on the fence to say, yeah, I'll make a quick some money back on that closing cost. What would happen is they would submit to us proof of that closing cost, and they also have to submit a W-9 with that as well. And it's just as simple as entering in a requisition, which will go to finance, and they would cut that check to that property owner.
I'm not sure that answered my question.
So, Josh, if I'm correct on that, so thinking about the closing cost incentive, so you have a property that's undeveloped that sits right on the periphery, but it is contiguous to the city limits. And that property owner wouldn't benefit necessarily from the refuse rebate, would have limited ability to benefit from the property tax abatement because it's undeveloped.
Right.
This closing cost incentive would be applicable to them to give them that extra incentive, if I understand correctly. Is that, does that answer your question, Mayor, why somebody might want to go that way?
With the explicit intent to sell the property once it is in the city limits, that's where I'm kind of.
So like if it gets in, they sell the property, they would have access to city services, and they may make the property, more available or more interesting for somebody to purchase and develop
I
on.
see.
Where if you owned it,
Yeah,
you're the one getting
Yeah.
it. You're
it's
annexing and selling.
right.
Okay.
Right. The buyer won't get that incentive. It is the seller. That would get that.
What about examples on on A, on the property tax rebate incentive? Could that be residential or a business owner?
Yes, it sure can.
So if someone comes in and they have a large business and quite a bit of land, they're paying property taxes and they come into the city, they get that reimbursement for 5 years on their property taxes. So the city wouldn't collect anything from them, wouldn't benefit from anything from them for at least 5 years.
5 years. I did talk to Leland Hancock, who is the assistant city manager in Owensboro, about the different types of properties that they use for up there, and it is all kinds that the city of Owensboro has utilized it for.
But that rebate, also for clarification, is just on the city's portion. It does not rebating for other
Right,
that we
schools,
collect.
yeah.
So just for that to be a clarifying point. And then if it is a commercial, we would still have the opportunity for that to be in the city, also the payroll tax though.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would keep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be, though, still a pretty good incentive for somebody, a business, to be coming into the
City.
city, which is, of course, what would be good.
Right. Subdivisions have been doing that for a long time.
Right, and we do have a subdivision incentive in place already, as well. It's already on the books.
So I do want to bring up, that I made the county aware, of these incentives, because I didn't want them to get surprised, and because we've got a great working relationship, with them going right now, and I think, only by the city and county working together do we have the best chance of growing our community. So I think, certainly, from time to time, they could get some heartburn, over some of the things that, some of the annexations we might be looking at. But at the same time, we have an obligation to ourselves and our citizens, to take a look at these when they make sense. But at the same time, I want to emphasize that, as we, we're going to be very collaborative as we look at any larger annexations, going down into the future. So it's kind of a slippery slope, trying to make everybody happy. But again, I think the community, we need to present ourselves as one a lot. And so we want to keep that relationship going. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, thank you, Josh.
Thank you all.
Go ahead and read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and read it, please.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the use of specific annexation incentives to be used for the growth of the city of Paducah. Said ordinance is summarized as follows. The city of Paducah may develop and utilize incentives to offer consensually annexed property owners, meeting the requirements of KRS 81A.412, including but not limited to the following: property tax rebate incentive. This incentive will reimburse a property owner the City of Paducah real estate property tax revenues collected for 5 years with a defined beginning and ending date as approved by the Board of Commissioners within a memorandum of agreement with the property owner. Sanitation incentive. This incentive will allow for the city to provide free basic sanitation service for up to 1 year, up to $10,000, with specific conditions to be outlined within a memorandum of agreement with the property owner. Closing cost incentive. This incentive will allow a one-time lump sum payment to a property owner equal to the amount of the closing costs with a cap of $1,000 with the explicit intent to sell the property once it is in the city limits with specific conditions to be outlined within a memorandum of agreement with the property owner.
So moved.
Second.
So I'm not going to ask you to call roll. Okay, Chris Yarber, we get departmental updates from time to time, and so we've asked Chris to come and tell us all the great things that are going on in Public Works.
Wow, nice introduction. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for having me. I too am from Mayfield, it's my hometown. So a lot of relatives, family, friends, so whatever we decide to do as individuals or as a city would be much appreciated. So, with that said, just a quick update on Public Works, what we've done for the first almost 5 months, 6 months of this fiscal year, and a few things that we have coming up just to put some things on your mind. And if you have any questions, we can get into it, but there'll be things we come back to you after the first of the year as far as programs for different divisions, such as solid waste and yard debris pickup and things that we think will improve that. So that's to come later. This is more just an overview of what we do now. So this is just a general org chart. As you can see, we have 4 divisions: facility maintenance, fleet maintenance, solid waste, and street maintenance. Just to give a breakdown for each division: facility maintenance, they're responsible for about 30 buildings. 20 of them are employee occupied. 10 of them are leased facilities. Facility maintenance also assists with shelters, playgrounds, and things with parks. The boat dock, the transit dock. They provide the custodial services for the city offices. They maintain the downtown decorative lights. You may think that would be streets, but it's actually facility maintenance that does that. And also the decorative lights along Marine Way, Maiden Alley, 2nd Street. 10 city-owned operated traffic signals. 10 city-owned operated traffic signals. We are trying to bring those up to speed. There's one that we're having issues with, and you may have heard about it in Strawberry Hill, right there beside Paducah Bank. They had to adjust the bar where people stopped because trucks making turns had to turn too wide, and bringing those vehicles back where they stopped helped that. Well, those sensors are not in the street like most places. They're a camera. And where they move that back, adjust it where the car goes so the camera doesn't necessarily see it. Well, to adjust that, there's a chip that we are having trouble getting. So just bear with us, and we'll get it taken care of. But I live in that area, so believe me, I want to get it fixed. Also, the facility maintenance, they help with the neighborhood signs. We recently replaced ID signs, street ID signs in the Lower Town area. Worked with Allen Roads on that. If you'll go down there, they have new decorative ID signs, and I think they look really nice. And they also provide event support. Facility maintenance is where the electrical, when anytime there's electrical and things like that required, it goes through facility maintenance. That's what they do. Some of the things they've accomplished this year, the section house remodel, they assisted with that. Public Works interior remodel, park services remodel, compost facility, office replacement, they've initiated that. The office building for the compost yard currently is just basically a shed that you would have in your backyard for storage. It's been like that ever since I've been at Public Works, and it's time for a new one. So we'll try to do what we can to get that done. And they also worked on improving the lighting in probation parole. Probation parole is a city-owned facility that is leased to the state for that reason. So just some things that they've accomplished. And currently in facility maintenance, the custodial staff, they're fully staffed. The reason I mention that is because through COVID, our staff at Public Works, we never really shut down. We provided every service that we always provide, and they continue to do so. And I think if you have the opportunity to talk to those individuals in facility maintenance, you'll see that you have some really good employees in that division for the city of Paducah. Fleet maintenance, we'll move on to that. There's over 298 pieces of rolling stock that fleet maintenance maintains for the city of Paducah. That's just a quick look at some of the rolling stock by department, and as can be expected, Parks has several, police has several. That's just the nature of what they do. So fleet maintenance also maintains small equipment such as trimmers, blowers, chainsaws, and tillers. They also manage the fleet acquisition and disposal. Some of the things they've accomplished this year, we've increased the outside service agreements. Going into the beginning of this year, we had one outside service agreement. That's where we make an agreement with agencies, other quasi-government agencies, that they have a need that they've expressed, and we think we can fill that need. It's not exclusive, but if they give us a call and we can do something to help them, we'll do that. So at the beginning of the year, we had one. We currently have 9. So you think about JSA, Paducah Water, and some of those agencies that need our help. Some of the volunteer fire departments, they don't have mechanics, and we have certified mechanics to work on their fire pumpers and things like that. So with that said, initiated acquisition of a GPS software for solid waste. We'll be coming back to discuss that in the future. They also have had a 10% increase in work orders this year, and they're paced to complete over 1,400 work orders. For solid waste, they have 11,500 residential customers, approximately 900 commercial customers. They also handle bulk items such as couches, tables. We also have, the single stream recycling. Hope recently you've seen the wrap we have on the solid waste trucks to advertise. With the GPS system that's coming on, I know the mayor has expressed concern with debris and yard cleanup, and we think that this is the improvement. This is the process where we become efficient, and I think at the beginning of the year, the first quarter of the year, you'll see the program we roll out and the efficiencies we can gain with this will be substantial, I think. So looking forward to that. They also have the spring cleanup. We had it this year after not having it last year. I reported on that previously. They do the leaf collection and yard debris, and also event support. Good to know, and you probably realize events have started picking back up the permits that Parks is issuing. And usually with most events, it touches 2 or 3 departments in Public Works with most events. So just some things they've accomplished. They've assisted with the initial South Side rehabilitation, the cleanup. We've replaced 25 dumpster containers, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but they're the big metal containers you see at the restaurant, so they last quite a while. But they've also replaced 750 rollouts or placed them for new customers. So either rollout replacements to new customers, 750. We're currently approaching 10,000 tons of solid waste for the year, 150 tons of recycled goods for the year. Compost Yard has sold over 9,600, almost 10,000 cubic yards of compost, and they also provide event support. One thing, the Compost Yard, it gets quite a bit of attention. Several people buy the product. It's a good product, and anytime you need to dump yard debris, the compost yard, the savings that compost creates for the rest of solid waste is where the value is. If you had to pay to dispose of all that brush and debris, it would probably put us out of business. So the compost yard is very valuable to the city of Paducah. Moving on to the street maintenance, they assist engineering in the maintenance program, the municipal aid, the street rehabilitation program. This year, they've already used the street sweeper on over 5,000 miles of streets. The street sweeper has already collected this fiscal year 270 tons of trash and debris. Reduction in, the street division is responsible for reduction in contract mowing costs to the city of Paducah, with taking over the landscape and mowing of certain right-of-ways and boulevards throughout the city. And they've also, as I mentioned before, assisted with installing the street IDs for Lower Town. That's just a general overview of what divisions in Public Works is responsible for and some things they've accomplished this year. Overall, I just want to let you know one thing we've created with the new risk manager position. We have over 1,700 safety and training hours, and if I had to guess, if we went back and looked at history, that would probably multiply anything we've done in the past by 1,700. So we've just made it a point to create a culture of safety, and I think you'll see the benefits of that paying off soon. The GPS system is always listed at the top of our priority list. We will continue to improve landscaping and aesthetics downtown. I'm working with planning for the trash cans and benches and new planters to go down there. And then facility maintenance, we have a new facility assessment, and we're working on the process of improving city facilities, and facility maintenance and Public Works will have a big hand because of the coordination of what we can and can't do with contractors and the cost savings with doing it in-house or certain things in-house. So any of the renovations you see throughout City Hall was done by the Facility Maintenance Department, and I think you can see that all divisions of Public Works do really good work. I know you may have some questions. You're welcome to ask them now. If you want to get in the weeds, we can, but, you know.
Sounds like you don't want to.
I don't mind. But there's some things that I know that you're looking forward to hearing, and we are looking forward to bringing it back to you, so.
Anybody?
Appreciate it.
Nice update.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For the opportunity, I've had some commissioners and the mayor stop by. I've had the opportunity to stop by. I think you'll see the things we used the period of COVID where we couldn't, things that slowed down the city of Paducah to try to take care of ourselves and other departments of the city of Paducah. And that's when we did some renovations, and I think you'll see it's paying off with employee morale and Public Works and things like that. So.
Yeah, let me make just a couple of quick comments, and we'll talk about more detail.
Yes, sir.
You know, getting into the first of the year, but first of all, the custodial staff and the facilities maintenance staff, the ones that I've come into contact with, are fantastic. So, and seeing that you got 2 Love Award winners tonight, you know, I can see.
Yes, a third of the winners went to Public Works.
Yeah. I just wanted to call that out for everybody. I can see why that helps you be really successful.
Yes,
having folks like that. Is the Sexton House being used now? Has it been renovated and being used? Do we know?
To be honest with you, that's what they're preparing it for. I'm not
Okay.
sure if they're already in it yet, but I think our part is done as far as the flooring and the inside as well.
Okay. And I don't want to get in the weeds tonight, but the service agreements that you talked to, the
Yes,
10
sir.
service agreements, when you negotiate a service agreement, are you involved in that?
They bring it forward, and then actually the commission acts on them before any are officially put into place. But
Okay.
yeah, we have conversations about it before it's brought to the commission for
Okay.
action.
And do we go through a calculation of our costs and how we, how we prepare those service agreements, what people pay us for? I
Right.
mean,
Yes, we do.
Okay.
There's a calculation. Of course, the mechanic is just, we have a mechanic rate and then the parts.
so do we just pass along our costs, or do we add margin to it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a cost plus.
Okay.
Cost plus, yes. And, the thing is, most of the services that aren't provided anywhere else in Paducah. Can't take a fire truck to
Right.
Quick Lube. So,
Right.
it's things like that. So we pay attention to those type things to make sure it's a service that maybe only we can provide or we should be providing.
I got to remember that quote. You can't take a fire truck to Quick Lube. That's a good one. So,
Well, you can. It's just, I don't know what kind of service you can get there.
I'm here for a while. If you want to come see me, I'm here all evening.
so clearly, I think there's some opportunities to do some different things, in some of the,
Yes.
I'd really like to see us get recycling, up and going.
Yes.
We've kicked that around the last year or so. Maybe with commission priorities after the first of the year, if we can all talk about, how we might approach that.
Yes.
And
And we're laying the groundwork for that. We're laying the groundwork to expand that and being more efficient in the routing and things like that, and citizens being able to contact us or give the information to the system for us to respond better, I think it's going to make a world of difference.
some people don't care, but there's a lot of people that do.
There's a lot of people that care.
Yeah, and
They really do, and it's good.
yeah, it is, and I think we need to think about becoming more a greener city, any way that we can, and so how we encourage that, how we incentivize that, I'm not sure, but that'd be one of my thoughts going forward. But anyway, you guys do a great job in that department, and we're very thankful for all your hard work and everything you guys accomplish.
And all the employees of City Public Works, they know the support you have and the support you give for them, and that makes a world of difference. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Let's
Chris.
go.
I was going to say this about Chris, and I don't want to, no, you don't have to leave the room, but when you were talking about recycling, and one of the things I learned about Chris a long time ago, and of course, being a former Mayfieldian, we've known one another, but he's always been very frank with
But you're a
me.
lot younger than him.
Correct, I am. I always looked up to him. But he was always very frank and honest with, very straightforward and would couch it in a way so it didn't hurt your feelings, but at least you knew you were getting, it might step on your toe a little bit, but it wouldn't hurt your feelings. But he started out in finance, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And running the numbers was always a big thing for him and making sure that it worked. And if the numbers didn't work, and this is what I remembered about recycling, and it stuck with me. If the numbers didn't work, he would say, it's your choice. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I think we should be a green community, absolutely. But keep in mind, don't ask me to make money and recycle. You probably don't even remember that quote.
I thought, well, you cleaned it up.
But it came down to commission priorities, and it does again. And I always respect you for doing that, and just, you never soft shoe it. You just tell it like it is. And I always appreciate him running the numbers. And I don't think I've ever said thank you for that. But
Thank you for mentioning that. And the mayor, he knows numbers as well. We can increase it. We can get to the point where it's not that bad as far as the cost. And I think we can get to that point. You're only going to get to a certain percentage because we're humans.
Right.
Some of us recycle and some of us don't.
Yep, that's right.
But I want to get to that level of where we can get to.
Yeah.
And I think we're on the path to that. Thank you.
thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you.
And Chris, you just celebrated, or coming up on.
No, he just mentioned that I'm 49.
Well, I was going to talk about your. Okay. But you've spent half your life with the city.
Half my life.
Yeah.
I started on my birthday 26 years ago.
Yeah. So thank you for being a great team member.
Yes, thank the city for, it's a two-way street.
It
It's
is.
been good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, from here, and we're getting close to the end here, for those of you who are hanging with us. I wanted to have a quick discussion about where we were with our bond funds that we started out this year with, the $19.8 million, kind of what we've allocated up to this point, and kind of what's left. So as you can see, from the $19.8 million, we pledged $12.5 million to the outdoor sports complex, $2.9 million to the airport terminal, and then at this point, unobligated, we still have $4.4 million. What's the 2.4?
That's the next, that's for the ARPA funds.
All right, so,
Yeah.
now, I just want to point out, though, that we're still taking bids, are still in the process of trying to figure out what it's going to cost us to redo the Cherry Civic Center. And, we've gotten an early number on that of 1.2 million. With construction costs, it could be more than that. So that's, that's a number. And then the remaining funds from there really are not enough, for, at least from an early perspective, to fund our 911 purchases, which means, that the long-term funding for 911, how we approach that is going to be very important. You've got to look like you're.
Well, we're talking about two different costs, though. We're talking about upgrading the system, which is a capital, correct?
That's correct.
Investment, and then we're talking about money that comes out of the general fund for operational costs on a yearly basis, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
But we've had some early discussions about not combining those costs, but trying to figure out, if we can fund, both the upfront cost as well as ongoing maintenance and replacement, of that equipment long-term. So it's two separate discussions, but it's going to have to occur kind of at the same time, when we get our committee up and going, But I just kind of want to bring, you guys and the community kind of up to date on, where we are with these funds, as it relates to the bond fund specifically. Now, if you go to the next, this is, we've got $6.4 million in ARPA funds. And we've allocated $4 million towards stormwater. Only half of that 6.4 has actually come to us. The other half comes next year.
We anticipation receiving in the May-June timeframe.
And the reason I wanted to have a discussion about ARPA is because there is some flexibility in where we spend those funds. And so we can somehow allocate some of those funds for some causes that we have in the city. Organizations that reach out to us, that have a burning need for funds. We do have the flexibility to provide those. And so I've been in discussions with the city manager and there's, with $6.4 million being allocated to the city, I think it makes sense for us to take a portion of that, a small portion of that, and make sure that we provide some access to, to folks who might need some help. The Merriman House reached out to me and has reached out to the county, and they have a specific need, a specific funding need. And I think there's probably some other organizations out there that do as well. And I don't think we're in a position to make a decision about that tonight, but I wanted to introduce the idea to us and let you think about it. We can have more discussions, talk about it at the first meeting in January. But I just feel like it's, in discussions with the city manager, I think we could come up with a way to take a portion of money and allocate it, for some specific needs that some of these organizations may have in the community. And we have really total flexibility on it. I'm not talking about developing another grant program like we do when we go through the budget process. I'm talking about, probably, well, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about yet until we outline it, but I do feel compelled to take a portion of that money and provide some assistance to folks with it. So I'll open it up for discussion, questions about that.
I'll just say that under the ARPA funding guidelines, final rules have not been vetted or pushed out by the feds, but we do have a good sense of what those look like. The interim final rule is out. And to the mayor's point, community nonprofit organizations that serve a community need that local government otherwise could not facilitate, those are one of the areas that we would be able to, under the interim final rule. We will have to define no later than the 1st of April to submit how we're allocating those funds. That is a requirement of those. And so, there are a number of areas that do align in the interim final rule that you're talking stormwater, infrastructure, those type of things. Outdoor recreation facilities, not so much indoor, but towards outdoor facilities is another area that the interim final rule does allow for. But the body will have to make a formal dedication of all those funds before April.
So we will determine that. So does that mean that, say, the Merriman House is requesting some funds, can it be used for operational? Can it be used for salaries? Or how do they?
That is still to be determined in the interim final rule. It looks like they're looking more at facility and a cost or hard cost instead of operational cost, but that, we'll definitely be able to give you that information before you have to make a final decision. But it can also be that you wouldn't have to necessarily define specific organization. You could say a percentage of your allocation is going to go to help nonprofit organizations, and then wouldn't have to, as we look through the interim final rule at this point, when you make that dedication of how you're going to allocate, you wouldn't have to do a specific naming of an organization at that point. That's the way it reads right now.
Would something like the Columbia Theater, the infrastructure, would that be considered? And also Hotel Metropolitan, both?
I believe that those, as the interim final rule reads right now, it's my understanding that those may qualify for certain aspects of provisions of hard cost, not necessarily operational cost.
So more work to do on that, but I think the city manager and I we just want to keep everybody in the loop, and we'll be presenting, bringing something to you in the future, and I would really like to get your input on that, in your meetings with the city manager, your thoughts on that. That'd be great, so that we've got everybody's thoughts on that, before we take any action. So, are we good on that subject? Okay, comments from the city manager.
Just in the interest of time, just would like to remind everybody that we do have some holiday closings upcoming. Our majority of our departments will celebrate Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on the Thursday and the Friday preceding Christmas. So we'll be closed then. And the same goes for the Thursday and Friday immediately preceding New Year's. And so New Year's Eve will be celebrated as a day off, in the city facilities being closed on Thursday with New Year's Day on Friday. So those are a couple of upcoming closings that we have. And then just remind the commission that we do have our team Christmas luncheon tomorrow, or Thursday, I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Jumping ahead, I'm getting hungry, Mayor.
Don't mess with my schedule.
Thursdays, and we're glad to support a Southside business, and we're going to host that at Surrey's.
Yeah, hope everybody's going to be there. Okay, commissioners, comments?
I might make a comment.
Please.
I see Chief Laird still here, so I think I'll make a comment. I saw a video today that I think you might need to know about. On Friday, the Morgan School had a father-daughter dance.
Yep.
And I saw some police officers there dancing.
Uh-oh.
That wasn't the problem. The problem was there was absolutely no rhythm. if they're gonna dance, they need to have some rhythm.
Can you teach them that?
I'll try. They were doing the bobble.
Were they doing the Carlton?
Yeah, they were. But no, on a serious note, I'm continually encouraged when I see that kind of engagement. When I see the police officers having fun with the kids. I know when I was a kid, it was officer friendly. And so many things have happened over the years, and the kids need to see police officers having fun and knowing that they're going to come and there's not necessarily anything wrong, but they can be friends. And so I was just encouraged when I saw that video this morning. But I just wanted to say that to you.
They don't teach rhythm at the training.
Okay. Well, we need to reevaluate the training.
Great job, Chief. Thank you. I saw that actually on Facebook as well. I thought it was
great.
very positive.
Great.
Very positive.
It was good. It was good.
Anybody, any comments down here? Okay, I think I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Where are our Santa hats? Thought we were supposed to have Santa
I thought
hats.
maybe y'all had quit doing that, so I didn't even ask.
Huh?
Well, I won't.
Knew nothing about it. Knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone.
But I'll correct it for next year.
All right.
Sure. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody has a great holiday, and our thoughts and prayers are with
Yes.
our colleagues in Mayfield and the surrounding counties. It's going to be a tough Christmas. Okay, motion to
Motion to
adjourn?
adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye.